Okay, so coming off probably the toughest back-to-back the Flyers are going to have this season, it was Saturday night in Toronto. They won in a shootout, 3-2. Sunday night in Boston, they won in a shootout, 3-2. The game before that, they played Montreal at home. They won 3-2 in overtime. In all three games, they gave up a 2-goal lead in every game. Montreal, they came back from a 2-0 lead. They scored once in the second and then once in the third. Same thing in Toronto, scored once in the second, once in the third, and then Boston scored both goals in the third period as the Flyers dominated the first two periods of that game. Boston only had around 10 shots through the first two periods, 5 in each. Carter Hart was very good in that game. Joel Farabee scored in the shootout. Really nice shot. Hart, as I said, very good in the shootout. Elliott played very good against Toronto. I liked what Alain Vigneault did there. He had Hart against Carolina and Montreal, 2 games at home, played very good in both. Then you had Elliott against a Toronto team that he played good against the week prior, and he was very good even though they lost in the shootout. This game goes into a shootout again. Flyers get the win. And then Sunday, it makes sense. You start Hart. Boston, a better team. They were coming off a loss against the Detroit Red Wings when they lost 4-2. And they played Friday night. Then they were home against the Flyers. And now Boston is on a 3-game losing streak. So I like how the Flyers have been playing these last 2 games. The offense is really starting to show up. Getting these wins early in the season is starting to happen. And they're starting to climb the standings a little bit. If you look at the standings, I don't necessarily pay attention to the standings very early in the season. It doesn't necessarily matter. It really only matters around playoffs, around late February, March, and April. And the Flyers right now are in third. They have a 1-point lead over the Penguins and the Hurricanes, who have 21 points behind them. The Flyers will then play the Wednesday at home against the Capitals. That'll be a tough one. Capitals, they're one of the best teams on the road in the Metropolitan. Flyers are one of the best teams in the Metropolitan at home. I think the Flyers are 6-1-1, and the Capitals were 8-1-1. I think the last time I checked, that might have changed. I know the Flyers might have changed as well. But then you go another back-to-back this weekend. You have a game Friday night against the Senators in Ottawa, and then they're home again on Saturday night versus the Islanders at 7 o'clock. So I don't even know who made this schedule. It's weird. Personally, I don't like it. They've looked pretty good in back-to-backs. As I said, the first two was against the Devils and the Leafs. They won the one game and then they lost the next. Both went to a shootout. And then this back-to-back versus Toronto and Boston, they both went to a shootout and they won both games 3-2. So the back-to-back is helping them a little bit. I know it looks like a majority of them have been on the road. The only home game they've had in a back-to-back has been against Toronto in that 11-round shootout. And now they'll have another one against the Islanders, who they won 10 straight, and then they lost against the Penguins in overtime. And they also had a 3-0 lead in that game, so they should have been 11, but they ended up losing. And then they won a game after that. So I think the Islanders are around 12-3-1, something along those lines. And the Flyers are playing good right now. Hopefully they can continue with the goaltending, the offensive stints they've been getting from some other players. And, if they can continue this into Wednesday against Capitals, that'll be a very good game. Hoping for a win. I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.